strap yourself in.
Because it's time for the Matt Wyatt Show. The guy who's the color commentator for Mississippi State football and SEC baseball. So, yeah, he brings a lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Got a little positive energy here in the Bureau today, in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team, Farm Bureau Insurance, across the great state of Mississippi. Available to you in all 82 counties. That's your hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents. I'm Matt here in the studio today, along with JB. He's here. Most importantly, you are here. Appreciate you being here and being a part of the show. Lots of ways for you to do that. You can call, text, you can comment on the live stream. That's a good way to do it also. So if you're tuned in online on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, however you're watching the live stream right there, feel free to comment and say, what's up? And hey, y'all. And sometimes y'all say Hail State and all that stuff. So feel free. Get it on in here. Danny's the first to do it. He says on Facebook, Hail State, Matt, what we witnessed last night was an Alabama beatdown of Ohio State. Couldn't have said it better myself, Danny. You're exactly right. How about that beatdown? We'll get into it here. Just a quick reminder, though, text the show on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Here's a number, 601-885-3776. Again, 885-3776. Or you might remember this a little easier, 885-ESPN. That's a 601. Also, 885-ESPN. Text the show on the Country Pleasin' text line. We'll get into it that way. And another way to be a part of the show, let me hear your voice over here on the Davini phone. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S. They've been doing it better, longer than anyone else right here at Davini on Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, 2 locations. By the way, speaking of the Madison location, Highway 51, Gluckstadt, Madison. Go by there. If you're a deer hunter and you take that trophy buck, before you take it to the processor or wherever you take it or whatever you're going to do with it, run it by Davini Equipment in Madison. Take it in there and let them, or pull up, call them, pull up, knock on the door, let them know you're there, and they will score your deer for you and enter you into our competition, our Big Buck Challenge competition. We've already got some entries that are studs, okay? But we're going to have winners, and at the end of the deer season, of course, it goes through the end of this month. We'll take entries up through the middle of February. And then we're going to have winners in the typical, non-typical, and youth categories. Prize package for the winners that is really fantastic stuff. And you're going to want to participate, especially if you take that trophy. Okay, so if you're going to take the trophy and put it on your wall and put it in the freezer and all that, that's great. Why not put some other stuff with it? Cha-ching. That's exactly right. So feel free to give us a call, text, and we'll talk a little football here today. It's sort of a reaction Tuesday, isn't it? Another blowout. Blowout City.
Yeah, kudos to Lynn, man. He missed it by 7 points. He had it called.
All right, so what was Lynn's? Did you write Lynn's prediction down from yesterday?
Well, I didn't write it down. I remember it. It was, I think he said 59-24.
Okay. Good gracious. 52-24 was the final. You know, how about this? Oh, you're talking about Lynn. Tiny is the one who did that.
Is that Tiny the one that said 59? I thought it was Lynn.
See, I wrote Tiny down at the end of he was the last caller yesterday, and he said
this is him calling.
He said 59-24, and the final score winds up 52-24. I was in the ballpark. I said 41-28, but I didn't give Bama enough credit. I shorted them 11 points and gave Ohio State 4 more than they actually scored. Tiny absolutely nailed it. Now, he wasn't perfect. But, I mean, you know, you come in here and go 59-24, and we were like, woo. And it's actually 52-24. You can't get much closer than that. Right off the bat, here on the live stream, watching on Facebook, Pamela says, Hail State, bring on baseball. Joy said, eating some good sausage for lunch. I hear you. Country Please. And I had jalapeno and cheddar at breakfast this morning. Look at here. Zach says, Hail State from Pratt, Vegas, Alabama. How you doing, man? How you doing, Zach? Thanks for tuning in. He called our old hometown there Prattville. He called it Pratt, Vegas. I like that. It kind of fits. Zach, if you're the first, it may stick. Who knows? David is asking about Zach Arnett. Zach Arnett rumored to very much be in the running for the LSU defensive coordinator position. We'll get into that coming up in the show as well, and some more of your comments in the live stream. First, though, let's flip over here to the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, 995-1059. Lynn, thanks for calling, man. What's up?
How about it, Matt?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, well, we all kind of had a good idea how the game was going to go last night, and it went about like we thought it would. A couple things I want to ask you about here. First off, Ole Miss don't need to be saying they're the only they tested Alabama like that. That was a different team who took the bill last night, so they can get off that horse and find another boat to ride. But anyway, what I'm concerned with, Matt, we've talked about it on this show before, you have, is the targeting rule.
Okay.
You threw a kid out of a ball game last night, or they threw a kid, I'm sorry, for a bad hit. He lowered his helmet. All that was wrong. Clearly, it should have been a penalty. But why does he have to leave the game?
Yeah.
Did a baseball pitcher get ejected if he didn't? I mean, I don't think he was trying to separate the ball. He was not trying to injure the player. He was doing what he's supposed to do, separate the ball. Now, they taught me even at Pee Wee, and probably you players at that level, not to lower the crown of your helmet like that. We called it spearing back then, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
And it was against the rules. It just wasn't called. But we're throwing kids out of ball games that they have worked their lives for. It is senseless. There's got to be a better way.
Lynn, I agree there has to be a better way. And, I don't know what the best idea is, but there are 2 or 3 ideas out there that are better than what we currently have. Okay, number one, and this is an obvious one, I've expressed this thought on this show before, is you have 2 levels of targeting. Sort of the the non-egregious and the egregious, if you want to call it. But, and I know they used to do that with face masks. They used to do a 5 and a 15. Now they're all 15. They took it away from the officials sort of in the judgment category. And I understand all that, but this is different because, like you say, we got one here that's sending players to the locker room or to the sideline permanently. And in some cases, forcing them to miss time in the next ball game also, which to me is just ridiculous. Okay, so basketball has a level 1 fragrant. That'd be a good smelling foul. No, flagrant. They have a level 1 flagrant and a level 2. Okay, so they are doing NCAA basketball where officials do a little bit of a judgment on how egregious it is, how intentional it is, and the penalties are different. If you look at you mentioned baseball. Okay, I don't know what the rule is in college baseball, but I should. I know in high school baseball, and maybe it's always been this way, but what was it? If a pitcher hit his third batter of the ball game, if you beamed a guy for the third time, you had to leave the mound. You could no longer pitch if you hit a guy or hit somebody 3 times. So they'd have different levels. Well, in football, in this case, absolutely, there should be a targeting 1 and a targeting 2 at the very least, where they look at it and go, and side note, Lynn, that language is already in the current rule. They already say something outside of the normal framework of a tackle on the football or a normal block, a normal play. Well, if a guy's tackling somebody with a football or hitting a receiver, bang, bang, okay, with the football, then that's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, absolutely, and maybe you get 1 strike against you. But for trying to make a tackle on the ball carrier, we can't throw guys out of the game. Now, if it's egregiously a late hit, if it's very intentionally trying to hurt the guy and it's way away from the football, that might be different. But you'd have a level 1, level 2. Now, I'm getting long-winded here, which I'm known to do, Lynn, but let me throw this in there also. Somebody said to me on Twitter last night that Herm Edwards out at Arizona State, he had an idea of if let's say like a kid gets a targeting penalty, he has to sit out for 1 quarter, and then if he gets another one, then he has to leave the ball game. Which that would at least be a step in the right direction.
I kind of like that. I was more along the lines of let's don't worry about levels. Let's call targeting. It's a 15-yard penalty regardless. Let's do that like we did face mask. Personal foul, first down, all that good stuff. Maybe that'll help deter it and teach coaches not to teach it, or well, they already do it now. But like, okay, you got a straight, yellow card, red card, whatever it is, something like that. You get 2 of them, you're gone. Then you can go.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, when he gets one and they put that in there, he's going to be consciously thinking about it at that point. Now, he might miss a tackle, but he'll probably keep himself from getting ejected. In that moment, it's the first play. I mean, it's early. I just hate it. I think it's stupid. You're kicking guys out. What was he, a senior, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know. I hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah.
It's just it's to be what college football is. There is no reason they can't come up with something better than doing that to who you say it's all about. You say it's all about the athlete.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's teach them a lesson without really making them leave the game. I mean, what's that telling them? Well, you screwed up, so now you're just doing it forever.
Yeah. Well, and
that's not. I don't think that's a good lesson. I don't like the rule. I don't see any need to throw somebody out of a game for making a football play. He made a bad play. He did wrong with his helmet. That's agreed. But my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Lynn. I'm with you. And
I'm ranting a little bit because it aggravated me. I'm not a Bama fan. You know that.
Yeah.
I did catch myself rooting for him on accident, which kind of made me scratch my head. But,
on accident, huh?
It really was. It was an involuntary emotion. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Lynn, I appreciate your call, man, and call me anytime. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Lynn said that he involuntarily was rooting for Alabama last night. I wonder how many other people were doing the same thing. No, yeah, so, a kid for Alabama has to leave the ball game. And it's at Alabama, they can run one out there who was maybe more highly recruited than he was. I'm not sure every school can do that, but the targeting thing, they need to change it. It ought to be a really high priority, I think, this offseason for the Rules Committee and adjusting it, because at this point you're far enough into it and you're throwing players out of ball games so frequently that I think now the evidence shows you that simply by having the ejection in there in order to curb the activity, it's not working. That's not doing it, because we keep throwing people out of games for making routine tackles. It's just helmet to helmet. It's like Errol Thompson against Missouri. On no planet does that make any sense for Errol Thompson to be making a tight end tackle after a short pass, and that is ruled a targeting, and that gets him kicked out of the ballgame. 15 yards, okay. And even if you adjusted it like Herm Edwards said, and it becomes a 1 quarter sit out, that's at least something in the right direction. Chris on the phone line. What's up, Chris?
Good.
Hey, man. What's up?
So I called Chris's show and called a little flack for it, but I'm going to say it on your show because I know you're going to pretty much agree with me, is that I watched last night, and when Najee Harris come out of the game and Devontae Smith, I kind of looked at my parents and I was like, well, you know what? This is pretty sick and pretty just ridiculous that you can take one of the best players in the nation off the field, probably the 2 best players in the nation off the field, and guess what? You got another one right behind them that is just as good as they are.
That's
right.
Just sick. They are loaded.
And I mean, I agree completely. I completely agree with you saying, I think, wasn't it you that said we needed to bump down the scholarships to try to spread some of these players out a little more?
No, I've heard a lot of people say that. I haven't really gotten out here and championed that myself just yet, Chris, because in my mind, if somebody then were to challenge it, I'd need to be able to back it up with some logic and a plan, and I hadn't figured that part of it out yet.
Well, I mean, I think going from 85 to 70, once we get through all this COVID stuff, I mean, you taking 15 players off of Alabama and off of Ohio State and off of Clemson, and you're putting them in other schools.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna basically clean up some of the parity. You're gonna make it to where there's 10 teams at least instead of 5 teams that can compete for the championship. And the other thing is that I don't agree with Lynn. I'm sorry. What you just brought up with the Earl Thompson, that was the most egregious piece of crap targeting call I've seen in a long time. And what Jordan Battle did last night, that was what they're trying to get out of the game.
Yeah, because, okay.
Led with his head and hit that guy with his head.
In the helmet, okay, and the receiver last night for Ohio State was looking the other way and wasn't able to turn around, and
right.
He certainly wasn't able to defend himself, and that's part of the language.
He didn't hit him in the head.
No, I mean, it was helmet to helmet. He hit the kid's face.
No, he didn't hit him with his helmet. He hit the kid in the side with his helmet. He led with the crown of his helmet and hit the kid in the side.
You're talking about
the safety that got kicked out.
I know, but on the play that he got kicked out, it was down there near the goal line, and his helmet hit the helmet of the Ohio State receiver, which was a tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch that, but I thought he hit him in the. I thought he hit him in the back.
No, the helmets did collide. Okay, here's the thing about it, though, Chris. That I don't think anybody's arguing that it's targeting. Okay, by the rule, because the receiver is looking the other way because he's trying to catch the football. The safety is behind him, right, and he's trying to make contact. And sure enough, he did contact him with his helmet up there, head and neck. Okay, so it satisfies the targeting. But what we're saying, Chris, is that it's not like a thing where the ball was way overthrown and the play was 3 steps over, like overthrown, and they all go 1, 2, 3, bam. Well, if a guy does that, throw him out of the game. But this is a deal where he's catching the football coming down. Safety's job is to come in there and try to keep him from getting a completion. He does happen to commit targeting. Call the 15-yard penalty. Move it half distance to the goal, whatever it is, automatic first down. But to throw the kid out of the game, the safety, for doing what he did, to me, it doesn't make sense. We're not challenging the targeting. We're challenging the ejection part of it, I guess is what we're saying.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you on that, but what I was saying was if you were going to do egregious, flagrant 1 and flagrant 2, then you could have called a flagrant 1 on Earl Thompson. But what Jordan Battle did last night, because, I mean, when you slowed it down and looked at it, if you go back and look at it and you slow it down and look at it, he was basically parallel with the ground, and the first thing that contacted was the crown of his helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is, because Earl Thompson was standing up on his feet when he hit that guy. He was off his feet and lunged at that guy. I mean, those were what we called big hits when I played.
Yeah,
but now they're taking them out of the game, and I understand why they're doing it. But, I mean, that would have been an egregious – like if you were going yellow card, red card, that would have been a red card all day long.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't feel bad for him getting kicked out of the game because it's like I told my dad. I was like, well, he kind of deserved that because he should not have launched at that kid.
Yeah.
He should have kept his feet under him and hit him. He should have kept his feet under him and hit him. And I've learned that, I learned when I was playing is if you keep your feet under you and keep your base where it's supposed to be, the hit is a lot harder and it hurts a lot more when you've got your feet connected to the ground because you can actually push off more when you actually hit them.
Well, and I know they're trying to legislate it out of the game to protect people, and I get all that. I guess what I just keep going back to this, Chris. If it's during a normal football play and in the timing of a normal football play, I can't throw a guy out of the game. He screws up, he makes a mistake. It's like sometimes guys nearly twist a guy's head off committing a face mask. And it's not like he's not intentionally trying to twist a guy's head off. He just grabs a face mask and hangs on. Okay? Well, my thing is if a guy twists a guy's head off by the face mask and the whistle's already been blown and the play's over and they are sort of tussling as a fight, they will just about every time eject a guy out of the game for that. But because it happens within the play, it's a 15-yard penalty. Well, see, my thing is I'm also looking at this from a player standpoint. What do I tell Earl Thompson? What am I supposed to say to him if I'm a coach? What do I say to that kid last night for Alabama? And somebody responded to me on Twitter and goes, well, Matt, they've been coaching to keep your head up and see what you hit for years and years and years. They know what to do. I get it, but have you ever played safety? Have you ever played middle linebacker? You're trying to make tackles? Because even if you hadn't, you've been on offense. But certainly if you've played defense, you know this. You screw up. You make mistakes.
Right.
Sometimes you grab that face mask. Sometimes you chop block the guy who's already engaged with a lineman, and it could blow his knee out, which is why they call it. And they call it chop block. But nobody's getting kicked out of the game for mistakes. And I know that to argue this, we are saying that officials have to judge either some intent or use some judgment in there. But I'm okay with that if it prevents players from getting kicked out of the game when they're basically in the timing of a normal play. He makes the tackle.
So last question for you.
All right, go quick.
So would it be different if the referees didn't screw this up as much as they actually screw it up and kick the wrong people out of the game?
Well,
if they were kicking the people out of the game that were actually doing it and really deserved to be kicked out of the game only, then I don't think this would be such a big problem.
Yeah, thanks for the question,
but I agree
Chris.
with you. It needs to be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, they need to fix it and do something better. It's time to do that, adjust it. The thing is, the rules call for the officials to, it says, when in doubt, call targeting. That's basically what it says. And so it's kind of hard to blame the officials right now. Just getting started reacting to that ballgame last night. A whole bunch of texts coming up next on the text line. Stick around. Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick, and if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend. Certainly if you're a person that's in media, like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any two teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C-Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. no most expensive plan requirements, no waiting 3 months to get your promo credit, no having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Back to the Matt Wyatt Show on the 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
A lot to get into with you. Continuing along here, just getting started on what really is a Reaction Tuesday. And reacting to the national title game from last night. Hey to everybody on the live stream. Thanks to y'all for tuning in. Lots of great calls coming back over to the phone here shortly. We'll say what's up. Josh told me that he named his bulldog after me. Josh on Facebook says, "Hey, Matt, got a new bulldog for Christmas. Named him Wyatt. I'll get you a picture soon. Love the shows." What an honor.
I tell you what, man, they keep rolling in. Yesterday we find out you're sports broadcaster of the year.
Yeah.
Now we find out you've got a dog named after you.
Hey, yesterday, you think yesterday was a good day? Not only did I get the news, of being recognized for an award.
Right.
It's a major award.
Major award.
It's indescribably beautiful. It reminds me of the 4th of July. I got a box.
I saw that. Got you a new mug, too, didn't
I
you?
got 3 pounds. 3 pounds of coffee beans from High Point Roasters in New Albany. Specialty coffee for pilots. Java Mocha, or Mocha Java, one or the other. And that Yurgachev Ethiopian roast, which is make your tongue flap.
Good, man.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And this tumbler, shiny new tumbler. It's red with the High Point Roasters logo on it. And I'm sipping out of it right now. Right now. That's good stuff. And then, by the way, Pamela wanted to wish Coach Polk a happy birthday, calls him the grandfather of college baseball. And I got to get to one other thing here. Yeah, but real quick, I know that Chad's hanging on. Chad, hang on real quick. Let me get this in here. Kevin agrees it's Blowout City, but says Roll Tide. Doc, thank you. He's congratulating us, but I wanted to put this in here. This is on the live stream as well from Becky, who says Steve Spurrier said that football is a game of recruiting, not football. It ain't about football. He said it's about recruiting. Thanks, Becky. All right, here we go. Davini Equipment phone line. Chad's been hanging on for a little bit, and I appreciate that. Chad, go ahead.
Hey, Matt. I was just watching the game last night. Had some obvious frustration that Ohio State's there, especially last night. You see Bama 12-0, Ohio State 7-0. And couldn't help but think about just the media and ESPN's effect on college football. And now, I know the SEC's in bed big time with ESPN, but do you think we're getting to a level of unhealthy media influence on college football and specifically matchups as it relates to the college football playoff? Just last night here in Herb Street, him being depressed the entire second half, and that's another thing, the conflict of interest stuff. He seems to always be on the Ohio State call. And anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts. Do you think the media is starting to maybe get to an unhealthy influence on the world of college football?
Interesting question. Okay, media influence and an unhealthy influence on college football? Really interesting question, Chad. I think there's a lot of parts to it. Specifically to Herb Street. I think there are so many options. A lot of people last night watched different versions of the broadcast, and Herb Street wasn't even on it. But that's just for one game. Most games don't have that. Anyway, directly to the question, yeah, there is on a national level, but certainly at an ESPN level, there's a little bit of an influence on scheduling and games and hype and that kind of stuff that I think causes more problems than it has to. I can't and probably won't really, Chad, go down the road of individual biases in certain broadcasters, whether it's Herb Street and Ohio State, or as Bama Fan brings up on the text line, a guy like Reese Davis going to Alabama or being from Alabama or whatever. I don't know about that, but I think as it relates to the propensity to continue to just gravitate towards whatever will get the most clicks, I don't know that that's necessarily healthy. But in the world of media today, for so many, that's what it's about. It's about clicks and how many viewers and therefore advertising dollars and that kind of thing. You look at the Heisman deal, it's become a little bit of a hype thing. And this year, though, I felt like it was the right thing for them to do, and that's come back and realize that a receiver was the best player. I think they got it right. I know I'm hem-hawing around a little bit, Chad, on your question, and I appreciate you calling. But, is there, especially at an ESPN level, a little bit of an unhealthy influence on the game? Sure. Sure there is. Do we have any way to change it anytime soon? The fact is, no. Everybody bows down to money, okay? And so when you bow down to money, you do whatever money tells you to do. You shut up when it says shut up. You talk when it says talk, and you talk about what it says talk about. And if you bow down to money, then that's the way your life is, okay? Well, college football, kind of the sport in general, the schools, the overarching thing there, the NCAA, in conjunction with TV partners, they just bow down to money. It's just kind of what they do. And I guess maybe that's the name of business, but that sort of, I guess, is one of those is what it is things. DJ is back on the Davini phone. Thanks for calling, DJ. What's up?
Hey, thanks, Matt, for having me on the show. First thing, I want to congratulate Alabama and all their fans. And I'm going to say this. We were missing half our defensive line. One of our best players broke his collarbone on the first play. Let me tell you something, Matt. I've been around the sport all my life. It didn't matter who we had last night. We weren't going to beat Alabama. Okay? That's one of the most dominant offenses I've seen in my entire life. And the thing is, I want to dispel anybody that thinks any Ohio State fan making excuses today is not in touch with reality. Because, it was frustrating. I do think we missed some tackles on Najee with some backups, but that only affected them running the clock in the second half. They were just dominant, and I think it's one. I hate. It's tough to lose. Certainly it is, but it's a great team, and I also want to comment on what you said. And you're aware the numbers in Pee Wee, the numbers in junior high have steadily gone down, and they're continuing to going down. You got mother after mother that I talk to that won't let their kid play football, and they're trying to do the right thing. But like you said, the ejection. Now, I'm going to go in a direction you may not agree with, but the ejection, they've got to start giving them two chances, unless what you said is just obviously. But let me just say this. The hit last night, I don't think the guy should have been ejected, but that's got to be taken out of football. And you may not agree with this, but I talk to parents on a regular basis. When you're trying to catch a ball, we've got to get to the point where the rule is if and you may not like this because we're both old school. I'm older than you are. But if you're a defender and you're not making a play on a ball, it's a penalty, okay? Because, Matt, I talk to parents every week that are not letting their kids play football. And, you say, well, the only way to make the game safer is to help the offense, okay? And the scores, but, it should be a penalty, but I agree 100%. It was a target, and no doubt about it. But, they're throwing kids out. And the thing is, the Clemson linebacker, the guy that we got thrown out against Clemson. And the other thing I'm going to say, did you watch most of the game last night?
Yeah, watched pretty much all of it.
Okay, and I'm gonna be fair because I complained about the officiating in the Clemson game. The officiating last night favored Ohio State so much. Had the game been close, it would have had a bearing on the game. Do you not agree with that?
Favored Ohio State. I don't know that I didn't come away from the game thinking that. To be honest with you.
Well, how about the first touchdown? That they overruled? That they didn't call a touchdown? The guy called it in the end zone.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, there were a lot of close calls. There was one time they slowed forward progress, and Najee hadn't even hardly slowed. All I'm saying is, with the officiating, I don't think the officiating was very good last night. I thought it favored Ohio State. But let me tell you something. We would have needed the officials to put helmets on last night to help us. But hey, man, I love your show. And like I said, I just want to call in and congratulate because, I'm a competitive Ohio State fan, but I want to call it like I see it. And they're truly one of the best teams I've seen in my lifetime.
Thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it. And that's basically what they said after the game. I think Mac Jones' comment was, I think we're the greatest college team ever play. It's interesting. We've had that back-to-back years. We've had a lot of blowouts in the college football playoff. The margin of victory has just been through the roof. If you want to compare it, I put it on Twitter. Look at my Twitter timeline today, y'all. If you get a chance, you hadn't seen it. I am Radio Wyatt on Twitter. But a little while ago, I put it out there. College football playoff scores over the last 3 years: 31-14, 49-28, 52-24, 63-28, 29-23, 42-25. 45-34, 30-3, and 44-16. The average margin of victory in a playoff game the last 3 years is 21.5 points. NFL playoffs, margin of victory the last 3 years, 9 points. It's good for some, but the fact is it is ugly and boring. More so than it has to be. Y'all stick around.
Bank Plus, together with Zelle, makes it easy to send money.
There's a game on the back that's lots of fun to do. All of the kids in the neighborhood say Tootsie Roll Pops are triple good. Triple good. You'll love Tootsie Roll Pops.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace with a sensational shortening discovery for better baking and frying. It's Procter & Gamble's Golden Fluffo, the first all-new shortening in 40 years. It's rich. Its color is golden yellow. And what a pie it makes. Richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing. But let's hear what Mrs. Thelma Styra, Indiana State Fair baking champion, had to say about Fluffo.
I love Fluffo. It makes such a golden brown pie.
Oh, man, that's some apple pie.
Well, Mr. Wallace, that's a prettier pie than I ever baked with plain white shortening. And look how flaky it is. This yellow Fluffo is such a short shortening. Makes pie crust so rich.
Like cooking champions, get richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing results in everything you bake or fry. Get Golden Fluffo.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats. A lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You like that. On Twitter, they are at HailStateGC. Or call them, 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats.
Hail State.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Wyatt Show. Talking more great sports for you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on.
to ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right. Time to get into a few text messages here on the Country Pleasing text line. It's 885 ESPN. That is a 601 number. 885 ESPN or 885-3776. So here they are. Law Dog. How about this, JB? Law Dog said, does Jake know anything about football? He picked Ohio State yesterday and they got smoked. Isn't there a requirement at the station that someone should know more than the audience to be a host? Well, but hold on, Law Dog. Hold on now. Haven't we all gotten predictions wrong from time to time? And picks wrong? What's the difference in picking a winner and a score, and the score is off, versus just getting the winner off? It's still wrong. We were praising Tiny for how close he got. It's still wrong. It's not exactly right. So you're saying that we should run people off for being varying degrees of wrong? I'm proud of Jake for sticking his neck out there. Go with what you think, man. And then he'll be on there today. I don't care if people are right or wrong either way, as long as they are entertaining. That's the way I feel about it. And he's entertaining. I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm not listening to anybody, watching to anybody to really tell me anything about a ball game anyway. It's great. It's all lead up. I do like to hear it ahead of time, but then once a game happens, all that's out the window. Who cares who he picked or I picked or JB picked or Tiny picked? That's all I got to say about that. Brian says, Ole Miss scored more on Bama than both playoff teams combined. That is a heck of an accomplishment.
He still lost the game.
You played to win the game. Yeah, it was
like
a deal.
Going out and saying, I scored 48 points in a basketball game one time, but we lost by 10.
Yeah,
that's right. Doesn't work that way.
That's right. Well, see, but the thing about that is, you're right. It's really all about winning. And it is they had a great offensive game against Alabama, scared Alabama to death, couldn't stop them. And Alabama played really poorly on defense. It'd tell you that. They had some soul searching after that game because and it was kind of a wake-up call for them. But if you do that from an Ole Miss perspective, it's true. They did put up more points on Alabama. And it's kind of a high point for them. I mean, other than the bowl win. But, it's like, so what? It'd be like me or a State fan going, man, State went to Athens and played really well against Georgia. They put up points on Georgia. And you go, well, so what? Because you play to win the game. Grumpy says, Matt, where's Chicken Hawk? We miss him. To quote former Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts, he did what he do. Devontae Smith.
What it do?
Mac Jones, Najee Harris, who was unstoppable. Thanks, Grumpy. Grumpy's getting like Jason. His texts get longer and longer. That's okay. From Chad, who says, Ole Miss has potentially found, Elijah Moore's replacement in Jacour Pearson from Western Kentucky. I would love to hear your thoughts on him after you watch his highlights. I didn't know about it. A lot of transfers happening. It's going to take a few weeks for me to kind of get familiar and know names and then have a chance to see what they did at previous places. Ghost Pepper says, I just ate lunch at Chipotle. I've already committed 3 very fragrant fouls during driving down the road. I'm sorry about that. I meant to say flagrant. But again,
roll down the window.
Who cares? Right. Who cares if I screw it up or if I'm wrong? As long as you are entertained. That's what this is all about. Ghost Pepper. Nick says a player can twist a guy's head around by the face mask and he's not ejected. I guess neck injuries aren't as scary as a concussion to the NCAA. Go Mike, spelled E-A-U-X, says if there's a targeting 1 or 2, then the replay will take much longer. He's practiced all year, played 12 games, shouldn't know not to lead with the crown of the helmet. That's according to Go Mike. Jason in Flagstaff, he starts it off with the letters LOL. How many 4-star athletes does Alabama have on the bench who only see the field in the Vanda game? I bet it's more than 15. Cutting scholarships won't fix their backups being draft picks in 2 years.
I sent you a tweet that kind of goes along that. Chris Vanini tweeted out earlier today that every Alabama player that was recruited under Nick Saban got at least 1 championship ring during their 4 years.
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
Whew, that is amazing.
I mean, he can really walk into somebody's house and say, hey, you know what? I can promise you're going to win a national championship.
I guarantee it. Lynn says, me and Chris can agree to disagree. He was trying to separate the player from the ball. The hit was bad, not ejection worthy. Well, that's the other thing, too. I mean, it's sort of just the world we live in. What do you expect? If I'm coaching, I can't expect the player, the safety, to do anything other than get his head up. Don't lower your head. Make sure you hit him with a face mask, but not the top of your head. Outside of that, he did everything he was supposed to. Maybe hit him a little lower with his face mask. I don't know. Somebody said they should call targeting on the offense also. Running backs always leading with their head and lowering it. Yes. If that running back ducks his head, call it. Bama fan was telling us Reese Davis went to Alabama. I didn't know that. Bo said, I personally think Reese Davis is the best in the business about showing non-bias and hardly ever giving his personal opinion. I would have never known he went to Alabama had I not researched his alma mater. Isn't he from Muscle Shoals originally?
I believe so.
Jeremy says on the Country Pleasing text line, by the way, Country Pleasing hat today is tan mesh, faded blue, red hog. There you go. If you're watching the live stream, that's my hat for today. From Country Pleasing. Jeremy says, Matt, with Arnett rumors to LSU, seems like the revolving door defensive coordinators will continue at MSU. If we can't keep coaches and can't recruit against the top 2/3 of the SEC, how long can MSU reasonably continue to compete to be a middle-of-the-road team in the West? And then he says, ROI has been good, but concerned It can't have longevity. I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know the answer to the question about, like how long can they this and why. I just think like the things you have to do are so clear. Number one is an athletics department. Well, number one is a school, okay? If you want to grow and if you're interested in having a growing enrollment, then you need to have good football. Okay, playing in the SEC helps. Well, if you want to be good in the SEC as an athletic department, what do you have to do? Number one, recruit. I don't care like what you're selling. It better sell. And then, and then coaching staff, you got to go overachieve a little bit. But listen, Jeremy, you go, okay, what's the end game here? What's the end game? It's like, what are the baselines and what are the end games? Kind of have to set those and then decide what are they, what is realistic, and let's go see if we can get it. Sean says Ole Miss will hang a banner now.
I saw a Photoshop thing of Ohio State Stadium, and they hung a banner, 2020. We played Alabama kind of close.
And they Ohio State needs to put one up that says 2020. We played we played fewer Big Ten games than anybody else, and still made our conference championship game.
Hashtag.
Hashtag, yeah. JM says, Matt, I'm disappointed that you are amongst the crowd that believes everything has to be equal, and if it's not, change the rules. What difference does it make if games are a blowout when number one plays number two? You want to dictate the scores too? No, JM, I don't want to dictate the scores. I just don't want to go to sleep at halftime of the biggest games of the year. Year after year after year. And JM, if I were, and not combatively, if I'm really asking this question, how would you answer this? What was there to watch in the second half of the national championship game? What was it? What was it? What was the incentive to watch the second half of the national title game? That's all I'm saying. It's just it gets more and more boring every year. And I'm not blaming Alabama. More power to them. I'm not blaming Clemson, Ohio State. More power to them. Like Jalen Hurts said, they do what he do. He do what he do. And, everybody else is looking for moments of joy here and there and excitement for your team because it is your team. But that's really all this is. It's just another reason why the NFL is so much better than college football. Year in, year out, regular season, postseason, drama, competitiveness, fan involvement, TV ratings, revenue, everything about the NFL is so much better than college football. And listen, it doesn't have to be that way. It wouldn't have to be that way. So some things are really going to change over the next 10 years in college football. It's coming. They are going to adjust scholarships. The name, image, and likeness thing is going to happen. Mark Emmert said it today. And those things are going to really change the sport. To what end, I don't know. We'll see. But changes are coming. I think in a lot of ways it couldn't be any worse than it is right now. That's just the way it is.
Well,
money's fine.
Do you good, man.
Yeah. Times they are changing. Y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country-pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You like that. On Twitter, they are at HailStateGC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hour 2 of the show in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. I'm Matt. JB is here. Thankfully, you are here. Glad for y'all to be a part of things today. However you're tuning in, wherever you're listening, and however, maybe you're watching or listening online on the live stream. Hey to y'all. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube. Thanks for tuning in there. On the radio, big booming radio signal. Live here in the middle of the day on 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN Radio, Jackson Central, Mississippi. Hey to y'all. If you're listening in replay land on WVBG in the Berg, Vicksburg. Hey to y'all. So thanks for tuning in, however and wherever. We stay connected to you here because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. Staying connected to you here as we kind of recap and look back at the ball game last night. And really our conversation has hit on some stuff and not specifics of the game, and that's fine too. We don't have to get specific about it. But we've talked, targeting issues. We've talked other stuff. And we got into a little bit of the dominance of teams in the playoff. Again, I think it's a notable stat, okay? When you now have it completed, you could go back 4 years, you could go back 5. I just didn't have time to do any more than this because it's all the same. And that is, in college football, the playoffs have been Blowout City for year after year after year. It's not just the title game. It's a lot of the other playoff games. So, technically you have 3, right? Because you have 2 semifinals and then the final. So we're talking about 3 games every year. And like I said, over the last 3 years, you go back 2019, so at the end of the 18 season, the scores in the playoffs were 45-34, 30-3, and then 44-16. Last year, 63-28, 49-23, 42-25. This year, 31-14, 49-28, and 52-24. Average margin of victory in the playoff games the last 3 years combined 21.5 points. You compare that to the NFL playoffs. You include this year where you are the wild card. Over the last 3 years, all the NFL playoff games, you're playing 11 every year once you complete them. Average margin of victory in the NFL, 9 points. And that's because talent levels and, pretty much equal. Games are better. And the playoffs are more compelling. I say more compelling. They're more compelling for more people, even people who don't root for the teams that are in the playoffs. I don't have to root for either the Ravens or the Titans, but you give me a 3-point game, a 6-point game in a fourth quarter in a playoff game where the year is going to end for one and not the other, man, I'll watch. I'm in. But if it's not my team, okay, or either one of my teams, even in the biggest game of the year, the national title game, and you're telling me it's 35-17 at halftime, and there's no sign whatsoever of Ohio State really even being competitive when their defense is on the field, well, I'm not in. And so it kind of holds the sport has really grown and just exploded in terms of exposure. Well, that exposure, because of the internet and the conference networks, TV deals, and all that kind of that exposure has just flooded the sport with money. But we're about to hit our head on the ceiling, or this whole law of diminishing returns, because it could grow much bigger if more people were involved, more fan bases were involved, more areas of the country were involved, and games were more competitive that meant something for 4 quarters. You just don't get it in college football the way you do in the NFL, and that's just, a fact. We love it. I love it. Love the sport. Follow it. I sure had fun watching that first half last night until Devontae Smith got hurt. And then it was like, what's the point? Sort of lost interest a little bit there. Let's start it off with a phone call, and then I'll get into your texts and your comments. First up here in hour number 2 on the Davini phone is Ron. Ron, thanks for calling. What's up? Ron, are you there? All right. I can't hear Ron, so we'll try him later on. Let me jump over here to the live stream. If you're listening on the live stream or watching, how about this from RLD? He says, one of the best things I saw last night was Landon Dickerson with a busted knee asking to get in the game at the end. And Saban immediately sent him in for the victory formation. That was fantastic. Not only from him, the player, but from Saban, too, the awareness to go, okay, you're Landon Dickerson, victory, get in there. To do it. Yeah, my hat's off to that. You know, RLD, one of the best things I saw last night, I wonder if y'all noticed this. After plays, there was hardly any jawing and trash talking and all that stuff. You notice that? They didn't do it. I mean, if there was some of it, you didn't get like highlighted on TV.
Mm-mm.
But
no, there wasn't hardly any of it.
They didn't do it, did they, JD?
No, the game was so good to watch, man.
Because you could watch
they're
the game.
Professionals. Yeah, I mean, those guys, they're playing their hearts and souls out there, not to get chippy and not to talk trash. I mean, there was a couple times I saw guys from each team kind of say something, but the other guy just didn't even give them, the benefit of the doubt, thinking they heard them.
Yeah.
That's how all that stops.
That's
you just
right.
Don't acknowledge it.
Well, I know, and I guess there's a lot of reasons, and I knew that you probably noticed and others did too, but I did. I noticed watching the game. There was none of that. Extracurricular stuff after plays, none of it. You can chalk that up to several things, but I sure enjoyed watching it. Okay, Ron is back on the Davini phone. Thanks for calling back, Ron. What's up?
Well, he hung up that time. I was on the other line when he was trying to get on the first time, and it wouldn't go.
All right.
So he called. I don't know. Maybe you'll call back.
Call back, Ron. We'll try it again. Third time be the charm. How about that? Maybe. Third time be the charm. 3 touchdowns in the first half for your Heisman winner.
Play action. Jones steps up right down the middle of the field. It's touchdown. Devontae Smith cannot be stopped. A truly special performance by the Heisman Trophy winner. 3 touchdowns in the first half.
3 in the first half. Hey, here's a stat for you. JB, I ran this by Annabeth earlier today.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think this is a significant stat? I read it to her. She was like, yeah, that's good. And now I'm going to try it on you.
Okay.
Get your reaction to this.
I'm just glad to be included in that kind of company.
Alabama had 10 passing plays, completions, that went for 15 yards or more. Explosive completions that went for 15 yards or more. Okay, Alabama had 10 of those.
Mm-hmm.
8 of the 10 were in the first half, and 5 of those 8 went to Devontae Smith. In fact, what were his total completions or total receptions in the game?
I think he was targeted 15 times, had 12 catches for 215 and 3 TDs.
Okay. Largely in the first half.
If I'm misremembering correctly.
He had 12 catches, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Average 17.9 per catch.
And if he had caught the ball he got hurt on, he probably wouldn't have hurt his hand.
That's a good point. And I had even one guy on Twitter had the nerve to respond to that stat I put out there and go, yeah, but how many times did he catch it short and make a long run? Because I don't remember any bombs or any, big plays. I'm like, what? You don't remember any big plays? Yeah, so he had, in the first half, right, they had 8 passes that went for 15 or more. He caught 5 of those. He had a 22, a 32, which was the go. He had a 16, which was the back shoulder. He had a 44, which was the go up the sideline. And then he had the skinny post, basically a vertical, but running away from the safety for 42 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. I think it was number 32 for Ohio State.
Oh, bless his heart.
He came flying by me and go, he gone.
He gone. Man, 32. And he was giving it all he got, but 32 lumbers. That's how he runs. He lumbers. And he had no chance of run. How are you going to get him matched up on Devontae Smith? Really? How do you get that matchup? Seems like that's one that you would coach against all week long.
You know, one of the things that I did appreciate that Herb Street and Fowler were commending last night was Sarkisian and his play calling.
He was perfect.
He was dialing it up.
Well, and, you know,
of course, when you got those guys to do it, it makes it a little bit easier, right?
It does. But, you know, like he's coming out there and he's starting drives with a screen pass to Najee Harris that goes for like 14. And then later they pump a wide receiver screen and hit the intermediate up there to somebody, Mechie, for a big play on third and forever. And, I mean, he was just so dialed in. And it's got to be fun when you have weapons like that as a play caller, because not only are they great weapons athletically, but they are coached so well, they're going to do the right thing. And so you're just manipulating the defense. They had no chance. Sark was totally dialed in. How about this? Sven says on the live stream, your little girl made you a heck of a congratulations card. Good job, young lady. Yep, she sure did. Mary Lady made that for me. It's right here.
Yeah, she's a you're going to have to start locking that front door. She's a pretty little girl.
I'm going to start sitting on the front porch.
In overalls with no shirt underneath and a shotgun.
Yeah, or just my underwear. That'll take care of it. That'll take care of everything.
Keep the neighbors away for sure.
All right, right. Let's see, in the delivery man, let's see if the third time is the charm. Ron, thanks for calling. What's up, Ron?
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Great. What's up?
Well, I was just going to tell you, man, I agree with you 100% on, the college football. I mean, I'm a good football fan. I watch it all the time, no matter who's playing. But, right now, as we speak, the day after the national championship game, there's only 3 teams that you can tell right now that's going, it's more or less 90% guaranteed going to be in the running for the championship next year. And you got Bama, Clemson, and Ohio State, and maybe Oklahoma, maybe Notre Dame, maybe Georgia, and more, maybe Florida, and that's about it. And there's something got to change pretty quick. If you don't, just like me, I turned it off after the first half. I went to watching a Western. So I mean, for real, this is getting to where it's not, it's not even worth watching anymore. And if something's not done pretty quick, they're going to lose. They're going to lose their audience altogether.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Ron. There's a lot of people that feel that way. I don't know that I'm personally quite as negative about it as you are, Ron, but there are a lot of people that feel the way you do. And it's like the season rolls around. We all get excited about our teams again just because it's fun to go to our campuses, whichever one you go to, Oxford, Starkville, Hattiesburg, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, wherever. It's fun to go to your campus. It's fun to go into your stadium, watch your team, hear your fight song, see if they can win. It is. And then you get to the end of it every year and you look up and you go, what was that all about? What was that all about? Kids love to play, it doesn't matter. And that's really what it's all about. And it is. There's a different end game for just about everybody in college football than in other sports. If you look at, it's different than basketball, it's different than baseball. It's just different than all of them. It's different than the pro sports. Those sports are frankly all about opportunity. And if you put it together this year, we can make a run. Everybody's capable of making a run. Everybody. You can get George Washington in the Final Four. Okay? You can get Coastal Carolina winning in Omaha. You can get the Cleveland Browns in the divisional playoffs, going to the defending Super Bowl champs and ain't even all that big of an underdog. You can get any of that in any of these sports, okay? And growing up in my lifetime, the Clippers in the NBA were an absolute afterthought. They never had a star. You never saw one of their games on TV because there was no point in putting it on TV. They were decades worth of losers. Okay, and then all of a sudden, all it takes is a couple of good players, and boom, here we go. That's the way it is in every sport except college football. And it is all about recruiting. Danny on the live stream says college football will not have parity until recruiting is a level playing field. Well, it won't ever be a level playing field. It's not going to be a level playing field. Wait just a minute. Who's on the phone, JB?
It sounded like Granny, but I think it's more Bully.
Well, let's just talk to them and we'll decide. Is this Granny? Hey, Granny, is that you?
JB, me and you gonna go at it, brother.
I'm a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter, man.
I bring a shovel and I'm gonna whack you over the head.
You better bring a big shovel.
He put you squarely on Front Street, more Bully.
I can't believe this is going down. One of my best friends in the world, and he's calling me out as
he says it's Granny, but I think it's more Bully.
It's awful. It's awful. And look, and I'm coming out of hiding for the most part.
I know. Where you
I
been?
haven't been around in years. Man, I've been trying to get people fed.
Okay.
Rescuing food and feeding hungry people. And so that's where I've been.
Good.
Hey, just to continue on what they were saying about no parity, it's man, look at this. Fletch is calling in. Fletch is calling me.
He's calling
you
your phone.
Yes.
Hey,
well, if we can't be your priority, then we're going to have to let you go.
Shut up. So anyway, I think the only way somebody besides Alabama or Auburn are going to get to the championship, both SEC and national, is in a transition season when Saban retires. I mean, that's the only hope I see, because as long as he's there, it's going to continue to happen. Now I'm going to go off of that a little bit and ask you a question.
All right.
What was the deal with Urban Meyer all of a sudden saying he's about to die from heart failure, and he's gotten another coaching job at Ohio State, and now he's going to pros possibly? what, he just want out?
Yeah. I don't really. Let me speculate.
Just like JB's doing.
Let me speculate. Yes. Yeah. Let me be speculative here and not exact. There's probably not as much to the heart issue thing as was made out to be. More Bully.
Right.
And there was probably a lot of, there's no way to improve. Things are kind of sour. Maybe there's some relationships that were sour. Just need to get away. Okay. Tired of sleeping in the office. There's only one way to do it. You want to be successful. And frankly, it could be unhealthy. I don't know any of that. You step away, and then more than once, you get away from it and you start to have this existential crisis going on of, I'm a football guy. It's all I know. The only place I'm comfortable is when I'm on the practice field yelling hut and teaching technique. And I feel a purpose when I'm there. I've got to get back to that before I lose my mind. And I think it's more than likely that a guy like Urban Meyer gets into it. He goes and pushes. He accomplishes something and says, I've got to get away. More time for family. I got to have more time for me. I got to change my life. And as soon as he gets away, he can't stand it. He's got to go back. I'm talking Brett Favre, Michael Jordan. That happens to guys. I can sort of understand it.
Well, how was that for you when you knew, like, you played your last football game?
Yeah.
Do you still miss it every day?
Sometimes when I think about it, I think over the years I haven't really let myself think about it. I tell you when I miss it is when I go to a practice. When I go to practices at State, when I go to, or if I go to a practice at a high school or I go see anybody practice, that's what I miss. I start to get that itchy feeling like, I wonder if at this point in my life I could start coaching, because the idea of being neck deep around the game, involved in the game on a day-by-day basis and being paid to do it, that's pretty attractive. When I stopped playing, I'll be honest with you, more Bully, I haven't been totally, transparent about this over the years because, frankly, nobody cares, and I realize that. But I was sort of mad at the end of my playing career, just kind of mad at, I don't know, mad at myself, mad at the game, and ready to just go fishing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I stopped playing, I just stopped, and I was okay with it. But I do at times miss being around it on a daily basis, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Did you like practice more than the game?
No. I mean, I love the games. You want to play, but I think for me, I was somebody who I did also enjoy practice. Most good players hate practice, and I wasn't really all that great. I loved the work and the sweat and the hours and the practice and the drills and trying to conquer a drill or master one anyway and trying to earn play. I loved all of that stuff because I felt a great purpose in going out there and spending the time with it every single day. But,
let me end with this.
All right.
You know what I liked about practice, like baseball? I was a baseball guy. Baseball practice that's where you get it perfect. And don't make the same mistake, whether it's mentally or physically in the game.
Right.
Like, you'll get the same exact ball hit to you. And you think, oh, this is how I did it. And you just do it right.
Yeah.
So it was good to be able to perfect your technique, I guess.
Sure.
Anyway.
More
later,
bully.
guys.
Appreciate it. More bully. Thanks for the call.
Bye.
See ya. Y'all stick around in the Farm Bureau studio.
Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick, and if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend, certainly if you're a person that's in media, like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any two teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C-Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat,
But the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Back with you here in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Today is a significant day. At least I think so, for a lot of reasons. May I illustrate a couple of those reasons to you? I'm going to get into the Wayback Machine here for you. On this day, January 12th, 1997, the first episode of King of the Hill aired on this day in 97. You a big King of the Hill fan, JB?
I'll tell you what, boy. I love King of the Hill.
You boys get off my lawn. Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I love that show. Here's a little Hank Hill for you.
Now you listen to me, mister. I work for a living. And I mean real work, not writing down gobbledygook.
I'm hanging on to that one. And every time I get on some mushy-headed media writer's case, I'm just going to hit it.
Now you listen to me, mister. I work for a living. And I mean real work, not writing down gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook. What about old Boomhauer? Y'all like
man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there and talk about www.com, and you got then on there, man, you go click, 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 click. It's real easy.
Mike Judge is probably one of the most creative minds of the late 80s and early 90s.
Isn't he? I love this little exchange right here between Bobby Hill, the kid, and Hank.
No, I like Willie Nelson. He's got long hair. He's alternative.
Now you take that back.
Don't be calling him alternative. He ain't putting up with that.
No, I like Willie Nelson. He's got long hair. He's alternative.
Now you take that back.
Take it back. Also on this day, in 1991, we got the debut of the Superfans on SNL.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Bill Swirsky's Superfans. And I want to thank everyone for sending those cards to my brother Bill, who recently had another heart attack. We are coming to you live from Ditka's here on Thanksgiving Day, a day for giving thanks for, or taking punishment from, a team that is known as the Bears. The Bears.
The Bears. And Chris Farley was in there, and you had the whole heart attack scene.
You okay, Ted?
He's just having a heart attack.
Then he choked up the pork chop. Remember that?
Excellent work. Good job, Tad. You got to remember to chew those pork chops, buddy. Relax, okay? It's a holiday.
I hear ya.
Yeah.
Chew those pork chops. Oh, it's great. All right. Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Jake. Professor Jake hanging on the line. What's up, Jake? Hey, Jake. Hey, Jake.
Break it down for me.
Okay. It's not your fault. It's our fault. Now I can hear you. What's up?
Oh, nothing much for a professor. Nothing much. Hey, listen. My favorite character was Boomhauer. The guy talked so fast.
Yeah, right.
You had to really listen to him. It was really funny. But Matt, if you kind of had that itch, do like what I did. I kind of missed basketball. I went back and did a little pee-wee, coaching.
Yeah.
Why don't you try that? Just get into a little coaching. I mean, man, I think you make a great coach.
Well, I don't know about that. Maybe. I'm not too sure. Everything's worked out okay. I'm afraid. I'm afraid I would be way too close to Bobby Knight to be coaching kids. Like throwing chairs and screaming at referees, and I don't need to do that.
yeah, especially Pee-wee. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But the game last night, I didn't watch it. I knew the ending of this horror movie, so I said, you know what, I'm not gonna watch it. But I did thought Ohio State gonna give them a little run. At least show up, dude. I know you said, Matt, that the 8-game situation is out of the question for you, but guys, I mean, Notre Dame got blown out. Ohio State got blown out.
Mm-hmm.
See, 8 games, it was eliminated. Some of this, I ain't gonna say dead weight because they deserve to be there, but I know Texas A&M would have get them guys a better run, even though they got.
Look, Jake, I had that thought. Okay, so in the final, it's just a ranking, but in the final ranking, they put Texas A&M at number 4, and so it sparked this thought for me. I went, what if? We were looking back on that, and I know that A&M had a shot at Alabama, and somebody posted this earlier. They had the exact same score against Alabama, not beating them. But if I get a second shot at them, maybe they're more competitive. I don't know. Georgia, with JT Daniels healthy and playing quarterback for Georgia, probably gives Alabama a better ball game than Ohio State did. And I know they already face each other. And people are going, well, we don't want rematches. Well, my thing is why not? Sometimes playoffs give you rematches. That's the way it works. I just think, Jake, when we have a scenario where the Georgia versus Cincinnati Peach Bowl was a better, more competitive, more compelling game than any of the playoff games, then we have an issue.
Yes.
That's what I think. Yeah.
So the 8-game thing is still on the air for you, or
well,
if you thinking about it?
Well, okay. If you put 8 teams in there, this is what I'm starting to think, and I didn't think this before, Jake, but I'm starting to come around to it because at least I'm going, all right. If you put 8 teams in it, at least there's a better chance that maybe some of those second round games will really, maybe that out of 4 semifinal games, or if you want to call them that, I guess it'd be quarterfinal games, there's a better chance of a close one here or there. And I'm just saying now, for years, if we look over the last 3 years, we've had basically one close playoff game among all the playoffs. Surely if we add more teams, therefore more games, surely that gives us a better chance to have a few close games that are intriguing. And so I'm starting to come around to it.
Sounds good. Well, football is over. Now it's time to go outside and do yard work.
That's about right. That's about right.
Hey, guys, I so appreciate it, and y'all be safe now.
All right. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, I guess, the cold weather will be here for a little while longer, so we can put off the mowing. I look forward to things turning green and getting going. Get on my mower again. All right, here we go. Country Please and text line, 885-ESPN. JM's got a little bit of a problem with me today. His first text, he said, Matt, I'm disappointed. His next one now says, Matt, because you weren't interested in the game because Bama dominated is really irrelevant. He says, I wonder what Tiger would have said if Phil asked the tour to spot everyone in the field to make it even and fair. Come on, Matt. Did you complain if Tiger won the Masters by 10 shots? No, I don't complain about that. No. And is that really a good comparison? Golf. Because number one, Tiger didn't recruit himself to play golf. Two, it's an individual sport. Yeah, it's sort of Tiger versus Phil, but it's really all of them against the golf course, right? And the golf course just sitting there. This is a little different. We're talking about in football. Now, to back up, you said because I wasn't interested in the game because Bama dominated. Look, I was interested. I watched just about all of it. I didn't turn it off until there was like 3-4 minutes left. And that was just because I couldn't hold my eyes open any longer. It was hours past my bedtime. I'm an early to bed, early to rise guy. But I was interested in the game. I enjoy watching the fluidity and the execution on Alabama's offense. It's a thing of beauty. I love watching their pass game and watch them throw the ball to Devontae Smith. I even this morning went in and clipped out 5 different plays that Devontae Smith made in the game, and I'm going to work on a film study video to kind of show you how those plays happen. I love all that stuff. I don't necessarily watch the game myself, always needing it to be drama right up to the end for me to enjoy watching it. That's not me. When I talk about it here, JM, I'm looking at it through kind of the collective perspective. Everybody, okay, the whole college football world. It's a sport that I love. It's near and dear to me. I want it to continue to grow. And I do want it to continue to grow here in Mississippi. And what I think, JM, is that just like here in Mississippi, but I think other places also, it would grow exponentially if there were more people invested in it, tied to it, with something really riding on all of it. And right now, for most of the country, you can't say that. JM, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I would actually encourage you to write this down that I said it on January the 12th, 2021. Now, stay with me here. Stay with me. 3 of the 4 teams in the playoff next year will be Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. I know, that's crazy. I know look, I realize it. I knocked you back a little bit. That's wild. But I'm just saying it, okay? And I'm actually encouraging you to write it down and remind me that I told you that. Now let's look at the other sports. Can we do that with the other sports? College basketball? You tell me the Sweet 16 in basketball next year with any bit of certainty? The 8 teams in Omaha? Tell me. JM, if we took a poll of 100,000 fans, 100,000 fans, and we asked them to predict the college football playoff teams for next year, what percentage would predict Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama? And what percentage would be right? Now let's do basketball. Now let's do baseball. Now let's do golf. And now let's, right? In other words, it's the only one. We got to go to a break. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio.
If you aren't already on the team, it's time to join Farm Bureau. Visit favrates.com for great rates on home and auto insurance, or find a local agent at msfbins.com. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team.
This is the year to do more.
There's a game on the back that's lots of fun to do. All of the kids in the neighborhood say Tootsie Roll Pops are triple good. Triple good. You'll love Tootsie Roll Pops.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace with a sensational shortening discovery for better baking and frying. It's Procter & Gamble's Golden Fluffo, the first all-new shortening in 40 years. It's rich. Its color is golden yellow. And what a pie it makes. Richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing. But let's hear what Mrs. Thelma Styra, Indiana State Fair baking champion, had to say about Fluffo.
I love Fluffo. It makes such a golden brown pie.
Oh, man, that's some apple pie.
Well, Mr. Wallace, that's a prettier pie than I ever baked with plain white shortening. And look how flaky it is. This yellow Fluffo is such a short shortening. Makes pie crust so rich.
Like cooking champions, get richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing results in everything you bake or fry. Get Golden Fluffo.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You know, I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You know you like that. On Twitter, they are at HailStateGC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country-pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in.
Right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, back with you here in the Farm Bureau studio, or better known as the Bureau. I'm Matt. Farm Bureau Insurance, your hometown heroes in all 82 counties across the state of Mississippi. Thanks to Jake earlier for his call on the Davini Equipment phone. Davini Equipment, Highway 51, Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. Reminding you, if you are a deer hunter and you kill that big buck, you ought to take it to Davini Equipment on Highway 51 in Madison and let them score it for you, and they will enter you into our competition and our big buck challenge, because next month we're going to give away prizes, winners. We're going to have winners in a typical, non-typical, and youth categories. Whoever has the biggest deer they bring in there. So if you get a chance, take one by. That's Highway 51 in Madison, Davini Equipment. Tell Jonathan and those guys I said, yo! Sneak up behind him and do that. Sneak right up behind Jonathan when he's not paying attention, lean in there and go, hey! And film it. By the way, film it and send that to me and see what happens. See how high he jumps. Jonathan's a pretty good athlete, so he may get off the ground pretty good. Country Pleasing text line. What do you say here? It also has to be nice to look up and see your Heisman Trophy winner matched up with a linebacker. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, no doubt, right? How'd they get him matched up like that? Devontae Smith went off, broke a bunch of records last night. Ready Teddy says Urban Meyer has a part-time cardiologist who is fantastic when he needs to be. Oh, is that? He's good when he needs to be. The real
now
Eric.
Having images of Chris Farley and Urban Meyer. Yeah. Having a hard.
Hey, Urban, you got to remember to chew those pork chops. The real Eric says, so, Matt, are you saying you wished you could have transferred like they do now? No, that's not what I'm saying. It wasn't a deal of mad at a school or a coach. I loved the school or coach, loved the team. I don't know. It's just when it was over, I was just kind of, I don't know. I went ahead and started flipping that switch at the end of college that I was ready to do something else. That's all. Res Dog says, when is the Ole Miss banner hanging ceremony for playing Bama closer than Ohio State did? Come on, these guys. They are not going to let that go. For sure. Sean says, here's a little stat for you. In the 2010 BCS National Championship, Greg McElroy had 11 passing attempts in the game. Last night, Mac Jones had 11 completions in the first quarter. That's how much Saban has changed over the years. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. Well, and the game in general has changed, right? Well, it's just like we're talking. I mean, about these scores. I was using these scores to make a different point earlier, but it applies to bring them back up. We're looking at the college football playoff scores over the last 3 years. Now, I don't know what they were in 14-15, but that's still very modern. But in terms of upper echelon and even championship games, if we were to go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, compared to this, I mean, these are the winning points totals. So the points for the winning teams in college football playoff games over the last 3 years. 31, 49, 52, 63, 29, 42, 45, 30, and 44. And I can remember when, 28-21 was a high-scoring game. That's a quarter now, even at places like Alabama. True Maroon, what does he say right here? Yeah, no doubt. So final score, Alabama beating Ohio State 52-24. Final score, Alabama beating A&M 52-24. Identical. The score at halftime of Alabama versus Ohio State was 35-17. The score at halftime of Alabama versus A&M was 35-14. Is that not, I mean, that's crazy. True Maroon, thanks for sending those screenshots. I mean, it's just crazy how identical it was. Bill on the text line says, Matt and JB, don't you think an 8-team playoff, or even more so, extended playoffs, more games, just plays into the hands of teams like Alabama? They have better depth than most teams. Now, that's a good point. I mean, it's not going to change the outcome overall. It's just not. I'm not being a pessimist, and I know maybe it sounds that way, but it's just the reality of it. The best visual I can give you is, you ever been to the Grand Canyon? JB, have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I went out there on a catch-a-dream hunt with my son after he overcame his battle with cancer.
Okay.
And we were out there for about 9 days, and after he harvested a big old elk, we drove to the Grand Canyon, and I felt a little bit like Chevy Chase in Vacation. I mean, it's gorgeous, but I mean, you look at it and it's a bunch of rocks.
Just a whole bunch of rocks, huh?
Yeah.
But it is grand. The canyon itself is grand because it's big.
It's massive.
It's massive. All right. Well, picture this. On the other side of that canyon, standing over there, is Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson, maybe Oklahoma, but regards to how they recruit. And everybody else is on this side. People are going, oh, well, we're going to recruit our way and elevate ourselves up there into the lands of the elite. Well, frankly, in the current model, no, you're not. I'm sorry. But you're not doing it. They're over there and you over here. And that's just the way it is.
Well, that's the way it is in life.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is.
I mean, every one of us can wake up and go, gloom, despair, and agony on me, deep, dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
Oh!
Gloom, despair, and agony on me. But somebody's always got it worse.
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah, that's right. Somebody's got it worse.
And And I think if we can talk about this and put it in the proper perspective, it's like, if you want to do something about it, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Alabama, Birmingham, whoever.
Yeah.
Then get you a big bag full of money and go start getting these 4 and 5 stars.
That's
but
right.
you also have to be able to coach them.
You exactly right. Just because you have them doesn't mean they operate like a machine.
No, I mean, you look back at Stansbury and his demise with Renardo Sidney. You know, he was a 5-star, right? Yeah, he's a 5-star whiner, right? So, I mean, just because you get those guys doesn't mean they're automatically going to throw them out on the field and look at what they do. It's from top to bottom. It's the way those programs have been built and the way they're run, and it's just like a Fortune 500 company versus a mom and pop store.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I agree with you totally. That's it. Just because you have them, but you can't coach them if you don't have them. Right? It's like, okay, somebody else made a golf analogy earlier. The golf analogy here would be never up, never in. Okay?
Right.
You know, don't be short on this putt. It's a must make, or you're trying to, birdie this hole. Well, if you don't get it to the hole, it ain't going in. At least roll it by it.
It's a proven fact that 99.9% of short putts don't go in the hole.
That's right. And, so the recruiting angle, that's it. Figure out a way to go get the recruits. Maybe you can figure it out. I don't know. And
Speaking of
maybe
golf,
you don't.
real quick, you made me think of something, and this can kind of go along with what you're talking about. But you know what you call a son-in-law shot in golf?
What's that?
It's not really what you wanted, but you'll take it.
At least it ain't in the water.
That's right.
I'm in some green grass. I'm in the fairway. I'm on the wrong side of the fairway behind the tree. Well, so what? It could be worse.
There's also a mother-in-law shot.
What's that?
It looked good leaving.
That's great. That's great. JM says, Matt, I'm usually in agreement with you, but not here. You can't compare football to baseball. He may mean basketball. It's 2 B's. He says, because if an up-and-comer recruits 2 5-stars, I guess it would be basketball then. If an up-and-comer recruits 2 5-stars, which happens, they can compete enough to make the tournament. I can predict most of the Sweet 16 every year, too. No, you can't. No, you can't. JM, that's folly. You can't predict most of the Sweet 16 every year. You said Duke, Michigan State, Nova, Zags,
North close to picking the Elite 8, but I'd be very hard-pressed to pick all of the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Well, but the idea that, and I get it, those are blue bloods and those are the brand names. Duke, Michigan State, Villanova, Gonzaga, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, Louisville, Arizona. But to say, well, just take a group of those and make up your Elite 8 every year. Well, that's not happening. In reality, they don't make up your Elite 8 every year. Maybe half of it.
You'd have to say that baseball has more parity. College baseball has more parity than
basketball.
Other college sports.
Yeah. But basketball has way more parity than football. In football, see, JM, you're moving the egg here. Stick with the football. You know it, I know it. It's Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, 3 out of the 4 next year. That's 75% of the playoff overall. No other sport at any level is anywhere near that. Not even in the same pun here, ballpark. Hour 3 coming up. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise when it comes to 5G.
We're 5G ready.
We're 5G-ish. At C Spire, we're not playing their game. The fact is, 5G doesn't always mean 5G speeds. But thanks to our exclusive fiber technology and hundreds of millions invested in network updates, we can deliver 5G speeds right here, right now. Discover the difference at cspire.com/5G speeds. C Spire, customer inspired. Details at cspire.com.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You like that. On Twitter, they are at Hail State GC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. You wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
WRKS Pickens Jackson. Live
in the studio.
Live and local. This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, let's do it. Hour 3 of the show. Off and running. Third hour presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Head on over there and see them. Anything residential in Starkville. If you're moving to Starkville or you go into town for, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 weekends out of the year for ball games, you kind of need a condo that's yours. It could be investment property, leasing an apartment, anything like that. That's where you want to go in Starkville. Overstreet Properties. It's Overstreet Properties. Tell Kane Overstreet I said, hey, find the contact info at overstreetproperties.com. As we get started here in hour number 3, plenty to get to. Let's see. JB, it's interesting. So earlier there were reports that Kevin Steele, the former Auburn defensive coordinator, was hired by Tennessee.
Yeah. First one I saw that put it out was Barrett Sallee.
Well, Brandon Marcello 5 minutes ago tweeted this. Incorrectly tweeted earlier, Kevin Steele is the new defensive coordinator at Tennessee. He is joining Tennessee's defensive staff in a non-coordinator role. And that's per the Tennessee 24/7 site that covers him.
I got you.
Now,
So
how
it would
about
be
that?
like an analyst, right?
Well, an analyst, but it says non-coordinator role.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's he doing?
Especially with Pruitt being a defensive guy.
And maybe that's it. I don't know. What I do know is that I expected him to be somebody's coordinator, and just because he's supposedly today been hired in a non-coordinator role by Tennessee does not convince me that somebody won't hire him as their coordinator, especially if some other guys keep moving around. Like, I am not predicting. I have no way to know if this is or isn't going to happen. But here's a report from Ben Portnoy, Columbus Dispatch, covers Mississippi State. Ben does an excellent job. This was earlier this morning. Ben Portnoy writes, the Dispatch has learned today, Tuesday, that Arnett boarded an LSU chartered plane bound for Baton Rouge. A source with immediate knowledge of the situation told the Dispatch Arnett's involvement with the Tigers' vacant defensive coordinator job is currently, quote, just a conversation, end quote, and that nothing had been signed as of Tuesday morning. Arnett just completed his first season at State, got a 3-year extension worth north of $1 million annually in December. So, he got on a plane with LSU. Now, y'all tell me what you think. If
he
LSU
goes to LSU, he is not as smart as I thought he was.
Okay, tell me why you say that.
Because that's a dead-end job. He'll either be fired next year because O didn't like him, or O and his entire staff will be gone. Orgeron is not a good coach. So to go there, I would not go to LSU.
Yeah.
Until Orgeron is gone.
All right. JB, I agree with you. And look, we will find out kind of where a guy like Zach Arnett is in his life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I mean by that. It's not like anybody, or I'm not going to blame him if JB, if he goes to LSU. I wouldn't blame him. Okay, you go to LSU, go coach at LSU.
Arguably, he'd be coaching better talent, right?
They're going to get more 4- and 5-star players for sure. Now, here's the thing, though. You make that move and you tell me it's about money. Okay, well, LSU is going to pay him $2 million a year. Okay, well, at his age, maybe he needs to stack up the cash. And I don't know what the situation is and don't know what he wants and don't know how he thinks about it. That's his life and he can do what he wants, or anybody else can for that matter. But I think you're right, JB. I think if you go take that job right now coaching defense for LSU, especially if you're a young uppercomer, you just want to go make the money now. To heck with what happens to a year to 2 or 3 down the road.
Right.
Because, all right, on the other side of this coin, somebody might go, well, Dave Aranda parlayed the national championship team at LSU into a head coaching job at Baylor.
But he had been D.C. there for a while.
He'd been there for a few years.
Yeah,
well, and as soon as he left, what did Coach O do? Like behind the scenes, apparently everybody, it was clear.
Yeah.
He don't like Aranda because he left.
Yeah.
And then sort of subtle shots at him here and there, even to the point of making himself look foolish, remember? Again, I go back to it. Preseason, right before the state game, they've hired Bo Pelini. He goes into press conference, he's bragging on Bo Pelini and says, our defense is so much better right now than it was at any point last year. Running a 4-3 is so much smarter and all this kind of stuff. And it's basically needling Dave Aranda, who left to go to, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. And you and I both knew Pelini wasn't going to be the answer. But the other side of it is, if you look back at Arnett and what he was able to do this year at State, he was kind of the glue. That defensive unit was kind of the glue that held them together through those rough games. And you've got a pretty decent chance at having some good talent at Mississippi State. Why not stay here 2-3 years? And then maybe it's not another D.C. job that comes calling for you. Maybe it's a head job, like what happened with Aranda at LSU.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, I'm going to ask you this.
All right.
If you had the option, if you just had both options laying on the table in front of you, coaching at Texas with Sarkisian or coaching at LSU with Orgeron.
I'd go Sark any day.
You would?
Yeah. And I don't like Texas.
I'm not a huge fan of Texas either.
But I just think Sark, I mean, I've followed his career since he was a quarterback at SC. I mean, he was a heck of a offensive coordinator, and then when he took over the Washington Huskies program, they were really good. You know, if he hadn't have had the alcoholism issue,
yeah,
I think he was going to be a great fit at SC.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, I like him a lot.
He seems to be matured. People can do that, you know, for
Heck,
sure.
Stick around with Nick Saban long.
That's right. It's like a
He'll do
rehab deal, career rehab. Sven says on the live stream that Coach O was lucky to have Burrow and Brady in that one season. But then he goes on to say that Texas Longhorns are toxic. So many people are messing around there, like in Dallas with Jerry Jones. Yeah. Yeah. You know, a lot of voices in the room, so to speak, even if they're not there. Maybe you do have that.
Well,
I don't
most
know.
native Texans think that Texas is its own nation anyway. So.
They kind of do, don't they? They kind of do look at it that way. No, I look at it like I can definitely see it from your perspective, some JB, and what you're talking about there. There's something about the LSU deal that's not quite adding up. Even though this was a COVID year, all that abnormality coming off a once-in-a-lifetime type of year last year with the, as Sven says, the alignment of Brady and Burrow at the same time. And Coach O was the head coach during all that. And then you come into this year and you go one and done on a defensive coordinator hire, following that up. You go through 3 quarterbacks in the year. And I know injury contributed to that before you get to the one at the end of the year that played the best. And maybe that's a time thing, but there are other teams that played new quarterbacks and coached them up a lot quicker than you coached yours up, apparently. And that's 2 5-star kids you're trying to coach up, quote unquote, at LSU. After the season, Ensminger basically hangs it up. You know, we got to bring in 2 coordinators there. As I said, one and done with Pelini, so now you got to hire a coordinator on the defensive side. In the midst of all that, under Coach O's watch, you know, he's got the personal side of things, which I'm not getting into, but I think it factors in to the way people around him look at the situation. Players opting out right and left. Somebody brought the question last night between Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase at LSU, which one of those two are you going to draft? And I'm like, is that even a question? I mean, even talent for talent, is that even a question? who you draft between Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase. Chase is great. Wonderful. Great. He opted out. He went through 2 weeks of practice and quit. I mean, Devontae Smith's got a dislocated finger and is urging the staff on in the national title game to get it back in place so he can go back in the game. They couldn't get it back in place. The only reason he didn't go. There's no question who you're drafting between those two. I think JB's hammering that nail right there that there's a lot of good folks and a lot of good players. They're still going to have a lot of good folks and good players at LSU, but man, it does not have a good look to it right now. And I think if you're Zach Arnett, who am I to tell anybody what they ought to do? If you need to make more money than State's paying you, go make it. That's you. You go make it if that's the priority. But understand, there's a good chance that in the next year or two, you could be looking at a lame duck situation.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you another thing real quick is that, it's kind of a marriage kind of deal. And there are certain people I'm sure that you dated in college and maybe after college, because I know you got married after college. But there are certain people that I dated in college and dated my wife not at the same time, but, through those years. And there were some of those girls that I knew if I married them, man, life would be crazy. Mm-hmm. But I knew when I decided to marry my wife, Leanne, I knew that she would be a sustaining thing in my life, that she would help me be a better person, be who I'm supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly what you're trying to find when you go to work for another company or another person. You want to find somebody that's going to make you better, and hopefully you make them better as well. And I just think if you go to Orgeron, you're all up for all kinds of craziness, man.
It's basically inevitable. It's just varying degrees. I think that's where it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a good synopsis. Davini Equipment phone line. Richard, hanging on the line. Richard, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hello?
Hey, man. Go ahead.
Matt.
Hey. Hey, Richard, I don't know if we got to... Hey, I don't know if we... You got to turn your radio down for me and talk to me on the phone.
Okay, if you got me?
Yes. But I was having a hard time because everything I said, I heard an echo right there. So I think we're good. You need to just jump on in and go ahead.
You got me now?
Got you loud and clear, Richard. Go right ahead.
All right. I was just wondering, I'm 70 years old, been a football fan all my life, and last night cut the game on, watched a quarter and cut it off. It's the same old, same old. And I just wondered if y'all had heard what the TV ratings were last night.
I have not heard yet. JB, do you know if anybody's reported those yet?
Yeah, I got them pulled up right here. 18.93 million viewers across ESPN and the Deuce, down 9% from last year. It was 20.88 million last year.
So it's kind of consistent with everything else in college football this year. Down about anywhere from 10 to 15, and in some cases 20% across the board. So there you go. Richard, JB is Johnny on the spot.
All right. Well, but like you were talking a little while ago, kind of harping on it. You like something new, something different. You or somebody said a while ago they probably named 3 of next year's 4 finalists already.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of where we are. That's what this has gotten to. I think there's a lot of factors, variables, reasons, and things that go into it, Richard. But, some of them are, obviously certain teams, programs that got their act together all at the same time. And in reality, yes, fan bases and booster bases that got their act together also in a recruiting effort. It's a big recruiting machine at those places. All at the same time. But I also feel like, Richard, we are okay. So we just finished 2020, and I know we're going through the pandemic this past year. But when you think about it, like the SEC network, for instance, its presence and that 24-hour coverage and extra games on television and all this kind of stuff. That didn't even come around until 2014. They launched that thing in August of 2014, which is not that long ago at all. And what I think is we are still right in the middle of a period of time when the exposure, even though in the early 2000s, for that first 15 years, from 2000 to 2015, there was a lot of exposure for college football. I mean, the CBS Game of the Week and the coverage, but just since really the last 5 to 10 years has just been an absolute explosion of exposure for the Power 5 leagues, athletes on every team in the SEC, television revenue, SEC network, internet coverage, fan coverage, social media, all this stuff, this explosion of it. And so we're still right in the middle of that. I mean, we forget that Twitter, nobody even had Twitter until 2007. That's really not that long ago. It's still relatively new. And what has happened during this explosion of the sport in terms of exposure for everybody is some of these teams have been able to use it to their advantage more than others. And it has really fueled, I think, the recruiting efforts of others. It's just like we look up here and, it's a catch-22, Richard. You look at the SEC network, their studio shows, or ESPN college football studio shows. They're trying to get people to watch, as many people to watch, so they turn around those numbers and use them to sell advertising. Well, guess who from the SEC does more on-camera interviews than anybody else? Nick Saban and John Calipari. Those two guys. And the reason is because those studio shows, they're like, look, if I can do something with Nick Saban, I'll get every Alabama fan that's out there to gobble this up, and our numbers will boost a little bit. If I can do something on Kentucky basketball on the SEC network, our numbers will be up versus interviewing the coach at Ole Miss or State. So it's sort of this catch-22 that in the era of exposure, the big are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Richard, thanks for your call. Ratings down 9%.
Thank you.
RLD says on the live stream, Matt, I feel like college football is cyclical. I remember the same few teams dominating in decades past, Miami, Nebraska, Florida State, etc. I also remember Bama going decades without winning. They did. That's right. It used to be much more cyclical than it has been over the last decade. Than it will be, mark my words, RLD, than it will be over the next decade. As I told you, I believe it's coming. I don't know when, okay? But I think some scholarship limits and numbers changes are coming. It's just a matter of when. They are going to slowly but surely figure out this name, image, and likeness thing that puts money in their pockets. That's coming. It's just a matter of when. Until those things go into effect and begin to have an effect, whether that's the next 5 years or what, as big a gap as we have right now in college football, it's only going to get bigger. It's just getting. Listen, RLD, and you're a Bama fan, and so I'm sort of preaching to the choir. Listen, the era of the cyclical nature of college football is over. It's over. It's behind you. You've already lived through it. I lived through it. And we go, well, there were eras when, like you say, Miami, Nebraska, Florida State. Yeah, but over how many years? It actually truly was cyclical back then. Over how many years? A couple of years here for Miami, back to back? 5, maybe max? Nebraska. One decade where they were competitive, but how many titles? 1, 2? 1? Then they had a couple of good teams with Tommy Frazier in the 90s. It was never like it is right now. That's just my take on it. I'm not necessarily mad at everything about it. I'm not. I'm just saying what it is. It's like, if you're a fan of an SEC school, I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter what team you root for. You've never had more money in your athletic department coffers due to football than you have right now. You've never had the nice facilities and the premium suites and the ticket prices and the TV revenue and the exposure that you have right now. It's just like not everybody's like all that mad about it. It's just it is what it is. And the idea that this is just everybody's just going to let everything continue and this will balance itself out. You know, somebody will come down and somebody will go up. You can forget that. So it's basically like this. The ratings are going to continue to go down. Now, if that's a problem, address it. If not, fine. It's your sport. NCAA, college football, commissioners, do what you want with it. It's yours. I'm going to watch. I'm not a part of the 9% that didn't tune in last night. You know, I'm going to watch all of them, like so many of you. But again, if we talk about the overall health and growth of this whole ball of wax, I mean, is there any gap larger than the Grand Canyon? Because that's what we're headed towards. The ratings are not coming back up. The attendance in the stadiums is not coming back up. That's not reversing. And the idea that this thing's going to cycle back around and some others will usher themselves to the top, no. The only way it happens is if you make major changes. NLI could be one of them. NIL, name, image, and likeness. I got it backwards. Name, likeness, and image. You know what I meant. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Y'all stick around.
Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick. And if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend, certainly if you're a person that's in media, like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any two teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat. But the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
On 105.9 The Zone and worldwide online at thezone1059.com.
I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team. Hometown heroes in all 82 counties across the great state of Mississippi. Call me, text me, comment on the live stream, and we'll chat it up. This is what it sounded like on the radio last night. The final call from Eli Gold on the call for Alabama.
And that is it. The final score, Bama 52, Ohio State 24. Alabama does it. 10 regular season SEC wins. An SEC championship, a Rose Bowl championship, and national championship number 18. 13-0, absolute perfection.
Attaboy, Eli. Letting it rip. How about this? Let's hear another voice, another iconic voice. Sir Charles on the phone line. Hello, Sir Charles, or Chuck. How you doing?
Hi there. How you doing there?
I'm good. What's up?
I got to tell you, man. First of all, you know that snow, that was pretty good. I've still got my snowman. He's still up right now. Man.
That's good.
And another thing, I won't say this right now. Ohio State, man, last night they were terrible. Terrible. I mean, knuckleheads terrible. Justin Fields, I think he did that just so he didn't have to go to the New York Jets. Man, that's what's crazy.
I had a feeling you were going to say they were terrible or terrible last night.
I think he just didn't want to go to the Jets. That's why he played so terrible last night.
Sir Charles, thank you. Hey, and keep an eye on that snowman, okay?
I will. He's doing good.
It's getting warm.
I will make sure he doesn't stay warm at all.
All right. Thanks for the call. They were terrible. Let's keep it on the phone line. Davini Equipment phone. Ready, Teddy. What's up, Teddy?
Well, Matt, I'm like you and a bunch of other folks. I was getting tired of Alabama win every year and all that. And I found a way to cope with it, make it a little more bearable.
How's that?
By betting on them.
That's funny.
Well, sometimes the truth is the truth.
I will tell you this year, for your listeners, I know you don't really care, but point spreads for this year, Alabama went 9-4. But I found another secret that's even better. They were 11-2 against the first half point spread this season.
Oh, really? So So you're saying Alabama was a better first half team because by the second half of their ball games, all they had to do was just ride it on out.
That's right. And so in a couple of games, Florida, they covered the first half, did not cover the game. Notre Dame, they covered the first half, did not cover the game. Those were still winners for me.
Okay. Well, whatever keeps you awake, Teddy.
Yeah, well, that's about what it takes. But what I was going to say, and I know you hate to hear this part of it, but do you remember the NFL show on HBO called Hard Knocks?
Yes.
Okay. Well, after Alabama won their 2009 championship, I think with McElroy and Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Well, ESPN did a college version of this show. And it was like a college version of Hard Knocks, but it was on Alabama.
Yeah.
And what was shocking to me, and I cannot find the video anywhere, but I know it's true because I saw it, they put a camera right at the edge of the player parking lot. And let me just tell you, there were not four horses rolling up in the player parking lot.
They had nice vehicles there. Is that what you're saying, Teddy?
Those Alabama football players can afford some really nice vehicles. I mean, that was 11 years ago. But I have tried to find that video, and I cannot find that footage anywhere.
Saban got it.
How about that?
Saban got it and shut it down. My last point is, what I called about yesterday and saying you got to hit home runs to beat Bama, Ohio State did not hit enough home runs.
No, they didn't. They didn't hit enough home runs. What were the explosive plays? I'm gonna look those up.
What's that?
I said I'm gonna look those up. The explosive plays in the ball game here.
One other thing, I predicted Alabama would be ahead by 17 at halftime, which I was right. I had my score wrong, but they were ahead by 18, and I predicted they would win 45-24, but Alabama scored one more touchdown than I anticipated, which was 52-24.
You were really close. The only thing I've seen close to your prediction was Tiny, who called us at the end of yesterday's show and predicted 59-24. He was like super right on it. But you were close as well. Hats off to you.
Thank you, man. Y'all take care.
All right, great call. I figured out how to make these things interesting, he said. Bet on them.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one texter, smart aleck friend of mine, text me, and he says, you and Matt got it all wrong about LSU and MSU coaching. I said, okay, what is it? He said, where would you go to win a national championship? Well, I don't think going to LSU right now has very much more of a shot at a national championship than MSU does right now.
Yeah, that's what I think. There's just I know you have a recent example, JB, but it just feels like last year was lightning in a bottle for Ogeron with Burrow and Brady.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Lightning in a bottle. Now, we could wind up being wrong because they recruit so well, but it just has a feeling that off the heels of that title, O is going to load that roster, but is going to at some point be lame duck, and a whole new staff's going to come in there and win with them.
Well, Ensminger is not going to be the OC.
Right.
So he'll still be on staff, but that creates some oddities.
I thought he retired. I thought Ensminger retired.
The last thing I saw, and I'll look at it in a minute. Can't get to the computer right now, but the last thing I thought I saw was that he was not going to be the OC, but was going to remain on staff as some kind of, I don't know, offensive
consultant.
Yeah, something like that. They used another word.
Yeah. It's interesting. The explosive plays in the game last night. Alabama had 10 pass plays of 15 yards or more. Ohio State had 5. Half. Alabama had 7 running plays of 10 yards or more. Ohio State had 3. But those 3 added up to almost the same amount of rushing yards Alabama had in those explosive plays. Because 10 plus, Ohio State had 3 runs, one for 28, 29, and 33. Bama had 7 that went over 10 yards, but they were just barely over 10 yards. 13, 13, 13, 10, 21, 2 more 13s. How about that? They had, isn't that crazy? That's a crazy stat in and of itself. Alabama had 7 rushes go for 10 or more yards, JB. 5 of those 7 went for exactly 13 yards. What in the world?
Yeah, they kind of put it to them.
Oh, man. Did they ever more put it to them? They really did. What was this here? White Denzel says, well, first of all, let me back up. True Maroon said he's never met a Leanne that wasn't nice. He's saying if you meet somebody named Leanne, they're almost always nice. White Denzel says, so last night's beatdown was the largest non-conference defeat that Ohio State has suffered since 1890. Who? He says Worcester beat them that year 64-0. Who? I know it's 1890, but golly, who's that? Who is that? Here was Saban after the game.
To me, this team accomplished more almost than any team. No disrespect to any other teams that we had or any championship teams, but this team won 11 SEC games. No other team has done that. They won the SEC and went undefeated in the SEC. And then they beat 2 great teams in the playoffs with no break in between. This was our 5th game in a row, from LSU to Arkansas to Florida to Notre Dame to here. And played 13 games and went undefeated. With all the disruption that we had in this season, I think there's quite a bit to write about when it comes to the legacy of a team.
What about next year? That was Alabama's first title since when? 2017 season?
Yeah, I think so.
When they beat Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Tua came in there, lit them up. That's it. We'll wrap things up here in hour number 3. Coming up next, I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career.
Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and online at thezone1059.com.
All right, here we go. Getting set to wrap things up with you here on this Tuesday. Hour 3 of the show presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Check them out at overstreetproperties.com. Anything residential in Starkville, moving there, going to live there all the time. Need a place to live, go see them. Or maybe just temporary. You're coming to town, need a condo several weekends out of the year, leasing an apartment, anything like that. Go to Overstreet Properties, see Kane Overstreet, overstreetproperties.com in Starkville. That's the real deal. All right, y'all call. Text line 885-ESPN. That's a 601 number, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. That's a country pleasing text line, country pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Somebody messaged the show earlier on the live stream, John, and he said Kroger has country pleasing sausage half price right now. He says, somebody go see how much room you have in the freezer. If it's half price, go load up. That's all I'm going to say about that. In the least surprising story of the day, JB.
What's that, pal?
From Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
They actually voted Alabama #1 in the nation.
The Tuscaloosa News has awarded Alabama the national championship. No. Thousands of excited football fans partied in the streets around the University of Alabama after the Crimson Tide defeated Ohio State 52-24.
Yeah, they wasn't doing too much social distancing from what I saw.
Ignoring pleas for common sense and safety at the height of the coronavirus pandemic. All right, 2 things I can guarantee you that are coming to Tuscaloosa. 1, a new trophy. And 2, a spike
in
COVID cases. Coming to Tuscaloosa. Coming to your radio right now on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, the home of our Matt Wyatt Show Big Buck with a C and a K. Buck, as in deer hunting challenge. If you kill a big deer, take it on in there, whitetails only. Take it on in there to Davini Equipment on Highway 51 Madison. Let them score it for you, and they will enter you into our competition. You could win prizes at the end of the deer season, including fantastic prizes from Davini Equipment, Yeti stuff from Davini, as well as other things, a Cajun fryer, steak broiler, and a gift package from Country Pleasing Sausage and Country Meat Packers on High 49 in Florence. So lots of stuff to win. Kill a big deer, take it to Davini, let them score it for you, and I'll take your picture. Send it to me so I can see it. On the Davini phone is Fletch. It's good to hear from you, as always, Fletch. Thanks for calling. What's up?
That boy ain't right in the head.
That's a really, really good Hank Hill impression, sir. That's a really good one. Now we got Beavis in here. Is that Beavis?
No, that's Butthead, isn't it?
Is that Butthead? Which one?
Watch it.
JB's old enough to where a butt cut would have been cool at some point. So
I had one.
Was Butthead.
I had one with the feathers and everything.
Look, for those that don't know what in the heck we're talking about, I just want to remind everybody that's listening right now, the reason we're talking about Hank Hill and all this is because the nugget was that on this day, January 12th, 1997, the first episode ever of King of the Hill aired. I just wanted to make sure people knew why you started your call off that way, Fletch.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just not the one right in the head. Hey, you talk about COVID was coming to Tuscaloosa. I thought you were going to say a Greyhound bus was coming to pick up all the next first-round draft picks.
Yeah, could be that. That might be another thing on the list that's coming to T-Town.
Will be that. Nobody bid on it last night on Twitter, but I tried to get some traction on saying, it's not fair. It's not fair for Ohio State. Alabama has 3 active head coaches on their sideline.
Mm-hmm. They sure do, don't they? Wow.
If you kept saying Butch getting people's ear.
Well, I couldn't help but think that Butch was, it looked to me like he was really trying to make sure he was seen. Now maybe
and seen with the big boys.
Exactly. I mean, but you're right. So you had the head coach of Alabama, the head coach of Texas, and the head coach of Arkansas State all coaching Alabama last night. Wow.
And I didn't watch after probably mid-third quarter very close, but I saw some video, must have been post-game. Now, granted, Saban maybe had gotten some confetti in his eye or something, but it appears as though he was tearing up a little bit.
Yeah, he did. I'm looking at it right here.
As you said earlier, Matt, he looks well enough, fit enough, young enough to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But what else does he have to prove? This was a special team and a special time. Do you think that tear up came from a realization of why not walk away on top?
I can't let myself go there right now. Not because I have anything invested. I'm just saying I'll believe it when I see it that he wants to stop coaching. I will tell you this, Fletch. The more articles and columns I see from Alabama media talking about how many more years he's going to coach, the more I will think he's thinking about hanging it up. You know what I'm saying? Like a sort of a media shield or smoke screen around the idea, if that starts bubbling up. But, I don't know.
I wonder if he ever said anything, yay or nay, to media.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't. But stuff circulates. Bama fan just texted me. Bama fan just texted me on the Country Pleasing text line. He said that Saban will be there another 2 to 3 years.
Wouldn't be a surprise. I didn't know if he thought there was something special about this year, as he said, for a good reason, and maybe walk away on top.
So, Fletch, let me ask you a question. I want to ask you a question, Fletch. You being the trainer, what did you think about Saban inserting Dickerson in for that last that snap, and then how Dickerson carried him across the field.
I missed that. I thought you were going to ask about Waddle.
No.
A little surprised on Waddle as bad as he was waddling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things when the physicians say they can't do any more damage, why not? Oh, okay, why not if the player's willing to do it? I thought the coin flip was on mute. I thought that was the injured O-line that was out front for the flip.
It was.
And remind me, he tore his ACL and had it repaired a couple months ago?
A few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty surprising if he got some playing time. That may have been a nail down.
Well, it was just one
situation
play, but it was just kind of I thought it was a really cool gesture of Saban. I don't think in past years you would have seen him do that.
Hey, and you know what, guys? One thing that really that stuck out to me too, that I was impressed by, is the fact that Nick Saban has the same hair color as Tom Brady. Y'all notice that?
One's natural though. One's chestnut brown 32.
Exactly. I think they're both out of a box, Fletch.
Well, Brady
Color me
probably
crazy.
got a ton of artificial things going on with him. Hey, was the linebacker 32 for Ohio State? Was he the guy at the coin flip?
Yes.
That dude lost every possible way last night.
He did, didn't he?
From the coin flip on.
I mean, got run over, got run by. I mean, there was several bless his heart moments. There's one time.
What it do?
There was one run down there in the red zone where, he's going to have to report his mileage on his taxes for hanging on to Najee Harris, drug him 10 yards down the field.
Yeah. They need to check and see if he's got a commercial driver's license for hauling that load.
Fletch.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you, man. Great call. He started with a little Hank Hill.
Now, you listen to me, mister. I work for a living. And I mean real work, not writing down gobbledygook.
I can't get enough of it.
No, I like Willie Nelson. He's got long hair. He's alternative.
Now, you take that back.
Supposedly that whole show was set in Garland, Texas.
Garland, Texas. Guys standing out on the street drinking beer together with their shirts off.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all, if you missed the show, don't worry about it. Because I'm going to post the links to the podcast, and you can always go to Facebook or Periscope or YouTube and catch any part of the 3-hour show, because the whole show, video and audio, is archived right there. So it's just a click away, as Boomhauer tried to tell y'all.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, get in there and talk about www.com, and you got then on there, man, you go click, 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 click. It's real easy.
Can't get enough of it. Just go click, 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 click. It's real easy. That Boomhauer. I've known people that talked like him and would fix your carburetor with a cigarette hanging out their mouth, and half of it be ashes. I've known them. You have too.
Yeah.
Fun show, JB.
Hey, what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Wednesday, hump day.
There we go.
Hump day. Yeah, so we'll see you then.
Good job today.
You too, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, pal.
Thanks for all the phone
evening.
calls. Yeah, you too. Thanks for all the phone calls. Bunch of them, and text messages, more than we could possibly get to, and all the comments on the live stream. For every last one of y'all, thanks for being a part of the show today in the Bureau and the Farm Bureau studio. I'm Matt. He's JB. We'll see you tomorrow.